When do we want?
You might want to acknowledge this, that, and unfortunately, or do one of those type of things.
Oh, they may be playing football and the crowd is yelling, kill the referee. But no matter what the score, when the clock strikes 4, everything stops for tea.
Hi, and welcome to Spill the Tea, the show for British expats and Anglophiles, and also any future expats. My name's Ian.
And my name is Sam, and you can expect to have celebrity interviews happening on this show, some performances, and some very interesting features. Now, on today's show, we have Steve Sims, the real-life Wizard of Oz. We've got Amanda Deacon of Lifecast Studios. And we did have Mick Miller, but we are going to reschedule him for a future show because we're a real live show. Good morning, Ian.
Good morning, good morning. Yeah, I mean, we are a live show.
We are.
It is kind of what it is.
It is what it is sometimes.
It was a scheduling challenge.
Yes, not a problem though, because we're going to bring Mick right back anyway.
We will.
I did reshare that fantastic clip of him from Last Laugh in Vegas, so that people could still enjoy the humour of Mick Miller.
I know, and I'm excited to get him on there because that'll be on a future show.
I can't stand myself. Actually, I'm that excited. I really can't stand myself because he's just so funny. You and I really like his humour, don't we? We love.
Oh, yeah.
You know, in fact, did you pour yourself some toast this morning?
I did pour myself some toast.
That's a Mick Miller reference.
Yeah.
But we've got a great show today, an interesting show. We did something a little different than we normally do in one of the interviews, which I think.
Yeah.
But we'll not spoil it.
No, we won't.
We won't spoil it at all.
We won't.
So how was your weekend? Well, actually, I was going to ask you, do you eat breakfast in the morning? Are you a breakfasty guy?
Am I a breakfasty guy? No. Well...
What do you eat? Pork chop sandwiches for breakfast? Get you going?
Yeah, I like that. No, you see, the thing is I've been doing this keto thing.
Yes.
Which has been...
Challenging?
Well,
it's worked.
It has.
Yeah.
I've lost a few.
Yes, you look good.
And yeah, no, it's something that took a few weeks to kind of really get into, but now it's sort of becoming a little lifestyle.
You're in your groove now, Ian.
Well, I'm keto now.
Keto.
I'm not really keto entirely.
You're cutish and keetish all at the same time.
Right.
Because I know you've got a couple of fans, that think you're cute, that watch the show.
Oh yeah, well, I have to.
He's blushing.
I am. I'm blushing. But no, yesterday we had a Sunday lunch, traditional
it's
Sunday roast.
It's the best.
So that was
isn't
definitely
it?
not keto.
Not keto.
Because I can't give up my Yorkshires or
No,
my roast potatoes.
I would never give them up for anything. I really wouldn't.
Well, and I did. So that's why when we had that yesterday, it was.
So on keto, do you really have to be strict every day of the week, or can you just?
You do.
Modify.
You do. You got to look at the backs of things and look at the carb, because it's low carb.
Yeah.
They say if you're supposed to have about 200-300 carbs a day on average, I think.
Right.
Well, I do 30, so you have to really kind of bank those carbs. The tea doesn't help. Actually.
Well, not really, but sometimes you just
still.
need tea. I'm not a breakfast person, but I do eat breakfast.
You do?
Yeah, I make myself do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just haven't figured out what I can do on the keto that's gonna be breakfast-ish, really.
But yeah, still include that.
There's not like eggs and bacon
roast.
every day. I mean, you can do eggs and bacon. Wow. I mean, it can be very meaty and cheese and eggs and all this kind of stuff. But, you can't do that every day.
Yeah, it's
Otherwise,
a
it'll
lot.
clog up my arteries.
It will clog up your arteries.
Exactly.
We don't need that.
So I may have lost weight, but still.
So your highlight was the Sunday lunch, the Sunday dinner.
No, I mean, it was. And it was made by my business partner's husband.
I know it was good
And he's an amazing cook.
without even asking.
Yeah,
I know it was really good.
exactly. So, no, it was amazing.
Well, we didn't get Sunday lunch yesterday, Jim and I. I made Jim work. That's my husband, by the way. I made him work. So, and he wasn't very happy about moving furniture. But it wasn't for me. It was for our charity.
Oh.
So someone donated a ton of furniture that would help us get organised in our charity storage unit.
So just do that around the house then. It's just like, it's not for me.
It's not for me.
It's for
just
charity.
for charity. Even with this sofa a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
So that was kind of our weekend. And as you know, I do my other show, Vegas Rock Dog Radio, on Saturday morning. So I do work on Saturdays. And,
I was actually texting you during the show. I was like, why is she not responding to me? It's like, I was doing a show.
I know. And I usually go, why are people texting me during the show?
Yeah.
I usually say that.
But I did also go and see that movie, Judy. That was good.
How was it?
I enjoyed it.
Of course, you can't give any spoilers away, but it's Renee Zellweger, isn't it?
Yeah, she was. No, that's right. I shouldn't really spoil it, but it's worth going to check out because it was. Her performance of Judy Garland was amazing.
And you wouldn't think
She's got to get the Oscar.
You
for
wouldn't
it.
think looking at her that she could transform into a Judy.
No, you wouldn't. But when she ever does any role, she really. I mean, look at Bridget Jones.
Oh my gosh, my brother-in-law was telling me how much he loved Bridget Jones' Baby. I couldn't even get to the end of the film. I
really?
I don't know. I just got so bored. Anyway, my other sister, I have lots of sisters, but one sister said that my brother-in-law loved it. And I went, he loved that film? And he said, no, he loves her face. And I said, well, what about her face? Like the way she acts, her expressions. And he said, probably the surgery and the look of desperation.
Oh, nice.
Okay. But he still loved the film. But I've definitely got to see, because Judy's iconic. I mean,
well, yeah, exactly, and it gets it gets emotional.
Yeah. What a tough life.
Actually, on the first show that we did, we were talking about the fact that although we had our friends and family watching, that my mother wasn't watching, and it's probably because she didn't know how to at that
Right.
point. She's still figuring out her iPad.
But you've rectified that, haven't you?
Well, we have. I've rectified it by actually bringing her over, and she's here right now.
She's actually in.
Actually, and even looking at some of the comments, we got Mike Robson from Greece. He's another expat in our family, and it says, "Is my Auntie Anne there tonight?" And she is.
She
actually.
is.
She's sitting right behind
Auntie
there.
Anne's the director today.
Exactly.
That's what Auntie Anne's
she's
doing
directing.
today.
So just to make sure she could watch the show,
I just flew her over.
Like you do.
It's brilliant.
On the huge budget that this show has.
It's massive, this
Yeah,
budget.
exactly.
Which, by the way, if you do want to be an audience member, you can, just go to our website, sign up, and
Yeah.
you can come and join us and spill the tea and sip some tea on a Monday morning.
We can.
So
So she
I think
came
it's
to we went
lovely.
to the movie, and Mum was crying.
I do like your mom a great deal.
She's all right.
She's such a lovely English mom.
She is.
Do you know, it's funny, I think we all adopt everyone else's mums when they come
We do.
over here.
We do.
act like it's our mum,
Yeah.
because we miss all that,
I know,
But
I
it's
know.
lovely, isn't it, when your family comes over. But your mum, you come over a fair bit, don't you, to the stage? You come over every year, don't you? Yeah, as often
More
as
or
she
less.
can. Get ready, she's coming more.
Yeah.
Well, It's been an interesting weekend, as I say, and I like to scope around and see what's going on in all the British communities everywhere,
Right.
you know, and it's not just in the States and stuff. So I did find some funny things. But one of the things happened here in Vegas, I think, well, I'm going to ask you this. Do you have a personalised registration plate on your car?
I used to.
Or what did it used to be? Can you say what it is?
Well, you know, in the UK, personalised plates are really ridiculously expensive.
They are.
To the extent that I have no clue why they're that expensive, really.
Right.
I mean, I remember like Paul Daniels had MAG1C, and this is like, you know, 20 years ago.
Probably
and it was
before
like,
people were even doing them. Like,
well,
you've
no,
got
but
to
it
have
was,
money for
I
it.
I remember hearing or reading a story that it was like £60,000 20 years ago
my-
to get that, which, you know, but over here, it's in the States, it's just
Make it
20,
up. Pick one.
$30 and that's it. You can have whatever you want. So I had like this little sort of, actually I still have a little sports car thing, little sort of vintagey one-ish.
Yeah.
And I always said if I ever got a personalised number plate, particularly in the States, I would have a plate that British people got, but perhaps American people didn't. So I had KINFAST. You know, this with a silent F, basically. Kinvast. So I had that.
That's a good one.
But then it became, after a short while, it was like, yeah, well, I've kind of done that now, and it felt a little, you might say a little douchey over here. So I was just like, yeah. So back to a normal plate now.
Back to normal.
But I did it because, you know, in the UK, you couldn't have had a plate like that. Actually, you're not supposed to have a plate like that here
It would have
either.
been rude to do so here.
Yeah,
We could get
yeah,
away
yeah.
with it here. Well, there's some fun ones here in Vegas.
There are.
And in this one particular group, there's always someone posting a picture of someone else's vehicle saying, "Who is this?" And they post the registration
Right.
thing. So here are some of them. And I really love this one, Crumpet. That's
nice.
a great one. Then there's the LV Brit. And of course, I know all of these people. This one I really liked, Up Your Kilt.
Oh, nice.
UPYR Kilt. Eng Nanny, English Nanny, Eng Nanny,
Ah.
and then UK Mum. So that's some of them here. I mean, someone drove past me the other day in a Mini with the flags on the mirrors and stuff, and even I thought, I wonder who that is. But yeah, people
Well,
post them
yeah.
all the time.
I saw one on the way here a few weeks ago, and it just said crap car. I was like, well, if you're going to... It's a vanity plate, but yeah, if you own it, say it.
One of our cars just has 666,
Oh,
and Jim chose that. What is wrong with him?
nice.
What is wrong? Well, we do both have 3 6s in our birth date.
So do I.
We were supposed to be born 6666, me and my twin,
Oh.
but we hung on for a couple more days. But we still have the 6s.
Well, I've got the 3 6s, and if you deduct the other two numbers, one from another, it also makes another 6. So
It must mean something. Like,
sure.
here's a funny story. I love it when there's, you know, obviously there's a lot of British influences on people that live here, and I'm sure that, you know, Americans living in England, there's a lot of influences on them, but this is really fun. On British people, this is really funny. American parents say their children are developing British accents after watching Peppa Pig.
Are they? Well, that makes sense.
It does make sense. So they said that they have started speaking with British accents because of Peppa Pig, the children's TV show which follows Peppa's life in a fictional UK town as she spends time with her family and animal friends has achieved global success in recent years. But in the US, young viewers appear to be adopting her southern British accent and vocabulary after watching the show. So they said dozens of parents have taken to Twitter over this phenomenon. Is that a phenomenon? Yeah. I mean, is it? To, you know, express what some of their kids are saying. So one of them said, "My 4-year-old baby girl loves watching Peppa Pig, and I've noticed her accent and grammar is quite extraordinary." And another one said, "Last night I took her into bed, and she looks at me and she says, 'Daddy, can you snuggle with me?' And he said, I was like, 'What did you just say, baby girl? I don't remember the last time I ever used that word.'" So that must be a Peppa Pig thing.
Right.
Someone else said, "Best thing that Noah does these days is speaking a British accent because of Peppa Pig." So people seem to be embracing this.
But I mean, that must happen wherever you are in the world with the children that you have in another country.
Yes.
I've got friends here who've got kids, British friends here who've got kids, and they maintain the English accent pretty much until they go to school, and then of course when they go to school, they drift.
They drift, or it becomes a weird hybrid.
It does,
which I think all of us do, and not purposely, which is kind of strange. This one parent said, "Anyone else's kid developing a slight British accent after watching Peppa Pig? She's also snorting like a piggy, but that's expected. That's not British." But I think that's great. And this is, got one kid that just finishes everything with a snort, and 2 years later she still oinks in conversation with her British accent. So,
and why not?
And why not? And why not? So I thought it was kind of interesting. What else have you got?
So
what
the
do you
other
find?
the one thing that really caught my attention this week was the return of spitting image.
Oh, I saw that.
It's actually funny because we've been talking about that a little while ago and saying they should bring spitting image back because it would be rife for it right now.
Well, it was last aired in 23 years ago.
23 years ago, and now the one of the co-creators is talking to. All it says is American network, so they want to make it more global, which makes sense.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I have a feeling from what I read, and we've actually got a couple of pictures on right now of some of the.
I never liked the show.
Well, see,
Did you?
But they were so raw.
They were.
And they're really going to be They're not going to be softening up apparently on anything. Yeah, there's Harry and Meghan.
I think they were always equal opportunity offenders, weren't they?
They were equal opportunity
Which I do
offenders,
like that.
Which actually I think is going to be fine because it'll work both sides of it. But yeah. I had a feeling they might have to soften it for more of a global audience as compared to just the British audience. But apparently, no. Apparently, they're going to keep it.
They're going to keep
really
it very
raw.
British,
now,
really.
If you don't know what spitting image is, it was as you see from those pictures, they're basically puppets, and they would put them into sort of situations where, comedic situations, basically sort of saying and doing things that physical actors would probably not want to do as those characters.
Right, yes.
And there used to be, they had a Margaret Thatcher and a Ronald Reagan, and there was,
And they're ugly puppets. I mean, they're all horrible. Accentuating their features.
Kind of inspired from the old newspaper.
Yes,
satirical, not satirical, but political, comedic sort of
satire kind of stuff.
Cartoon strips.
I never liked them. They made me feel a bit sick. Because they were so ugly, all of them. And it used to be a Sunday night, didn't it?
That's
to be on. It used to really bother me, like, ugh. But did you like it? I mean, I think Brits really like the, no one's safe kind of thing, especially with, comedy, that kind of thing.
I think so too. There was definitely the shock value. It was a case of, you used to watch it on a Sunday and then talk about, could you believe they did that?
Could you believe they did that?
On a Monday, and it'd be like, that was...
And you're not getting mad at actors, you're getting mad at puppets.
Well, yeah, that's right. So, you can get mad at the producers, I guess, but ultimately you didn't because you just took it for what it was.
It's amazing the stuff that's coming back. Now, another thing that's coming back, I can't believe this, carry-on movies are coming back.
No, matron.
I love them. Frying Tonight. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, we are.
What were some of the other things that they would say? It was...
that's great.
It was a treat to watch those films.
But
they were very cheeky.
How are they going to cast that though? Because those the people who are in the Carry On movies. And again, if you're not familiar with Carry On movies, they were sort of
an incredible cast,
comedic, slapstick.
Yes.
Very inappropriate by today's standards.
It was, but I think as kids, it went over your head.
Yeah.
And I think for adults, it was definitely a little saucy at times, a little bit cheeky, or my mum would say smutty was one of her words.
Well, it was Barbara Windsor. That was
It was Barbara Windsor. Oh, when she did that, I'm that thing when a brass pinged off at the campsite. And I don't know, it was always a treat when they came on television, but they said they're going to do 3 new Carry On comedies. Yeah. And Brian Baker is the chairman of Carry On Films Limited, and a friend of the series creator and original producer Peter Rogers, who died in 2009. And he says they're going to bring together a new team of actors, all with their own idiosyncrasies, handpicked from the vast wealth of fine comedy actors in this country. Many to choose from, but I think it's a certain kind of comedy.
But here's the problem, because in my view, and I was just wondering whether any of those original actors were... Well, Sid James was definitely known before he did them, I believe. But there were a lot of actors that were kind of discovered as part of the Carry On movies. And that was kind of almost who they became. So I almost wonder if they were to cast known actors, whether people would buy into them.
Yeah, I mean, it could work either way, couldn't it?
Depends if they're acting or they're just being themselves.
Yes.
If they're just being themselves, then that's fine.
Yeah.
In a sort of storyline environment.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, that might be a tricky one.
I liked Carry On Cabby. Do you remember that one?
I vaguely remember clips of
when
all
the
of them somewhere.
girls decided they were going to start their own cabbie business. And I think it was called Sweethearts, and their light on the top of the taxis was a big heart. Someone maybe can tell us what that was, but there's some scripts there.
What was the horror one? That was the one with
Flying Tonight.
Yeah,
with what was his name?
Oh, we did that. We do this every week. Oh, no, we just can't remember the names.
And then after the show, remember everything. Oh, you guys let us know, which is ridiculous.
Exactly.
But there are some scripts that have not been. Never been made into films, so it looks like they have. They're going to be pulling on some of those, and they produced those between 1958 and 1992. I didn't know they ran that long, to be honest. Massive franchise when you think about it. But yeah, I am looking forward to that. As I say, it'll be very interesting how they decide to cast it.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
whether it's knowns, unknowns, or whatever. But as long as it's funny, but yeah, it strangely enough was family entertainment.
Right.
Even though it was a little bit saucy. But as a kid, you didn't know, You know,
the other thing that came up for me this week, in fact, it was asked to me as a question, which is where, off topic of entertainment now, but whereabouts are the most concentrated population of British expats around the world?
Yeah.
And so we thought we'd look this up.
Yes.
And figure out what the top charts are.
Let's see where we rank in the States.
Well,
Let's have a look.
Yeah, I think actually not the top. The winner by far is Australia, where there's like 1.2 million British expats.
And it's probably easier because it's part of the Commonwealth. Maybe that's part of it as well. But you know what though? Lots of people had family that emigrated there.
That's right.
Decades ago, didn't they?
Well,
decades ago.
There was the what was it? My mum's going to know this. What did they call it? The £10.
That's right.
The £10.
Yes.
Was it £10 or £100? £10. £10 passage where you just like you want to leave.
That's what my family did.
10 quid.
And we still got family there in Adelaide. Yeah.
So Australia comes top of the list.
Who's next?
And then it is. Some of these numbers I wonder about actually, but it actually is the US next, and it says that we have like 759,000, over here. But I mean, we probably know that's a lot. That's probably a lot more of those than it says here, I would say.
And I think a lot of them. Well, I think you and I can probably, confirm this that. For me, a lot of the Brits I know here are married to Americans and mainly entertainers. Right. I can't tell you how many American musicians we know, Jim and I, who married British girls, mainly because they were on cruise ships, like Jim and I did. We met on a cruise ship, working, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But everyone I know pretty much is tied to someone in entertainment.
Well, that's true.
Certainly in Vegas. I think it's the next step from a cruise ship.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
What's close to being on a cruise ship, for entertainers.
We do export a lot of entertainers.
We do, but sometimes the Brits are not that cheap to, import into the States, as my husband likes to say, because it's kind of pricey.
Nice.
When you're going through that paperwork.
Exactly. So then Canada's next with like 675,000. And then this was the one that surprised me, Spain. Yeah. Which we get Spain, but it says like 381. Now I've seen 381,000, obviously. I've seen other numbers that are double that for Spain,
I would
which
think
seems
it
more
feels
like
more,
that would
like
be
it would be higher. Yeah,
I would have thought so. And then lots of other places. Ireland actually has 253,000, and then we go down to places like Saudi Arabia that's got like 31,000 expats. So we are everywhere, and as much as that graphic. Yeah. That we put up there did look like a world domination map and a plan. Looked like a Dad's Army.
Well, it's kind of what we did anyway, didn't we, really, as the British Empire?
Beginning of Dad's Army, it had like those arrows. So that's basically what this is our plan to... So we're really rallying all British people at this point. The whole point of the show is to deliver a message. No, not really. We're not planning on taking it back yet.
Evil world leader over here. Yeah. How'd you do it with a little finger?
The Empire strikes back.
But I think Thailand's becoming very popular for expats as well now. I've had quite a few friends move out there.
Yeah.
It's very cheap and, a much more relaxed lifestyle.
And we're getting viewers from all over the world ourselves.
I know we
so
are.
That's
it's
exciting.
so excited. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, New Zealand, 313,000.
Oh, I've never been to New Zealand.
Me
It does
neither.
look beautiful, though, doesn't it?
I haven't met a single person who said it's not amazing, so I want to try and get down there at some point.
They filmed a lot of Lord of the Rings in New Zealand, don't they?
All of it.
Oh, all of it. I didn't know that, but it
I
does look
believe.
absolutely stunning. That definitely would be something on my list, that's for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, that was kind of like the
Yeah.
where are we all?
Where
type of thing.
are we
And
all?
it says collectively it's 5.5 million, but those are the kind of the legally registered ones. I'm sure there's a lot more of us out there that just are flying under the radar.
That's
It's got
right.
to be more. There's got to be at least 1 million of them.
It's got to be at least
Yeah.
little stragglers there doing
And
their
we
own
intend to
thing.
get all 6.5 million
Watching this show
on a weekly basis.
Now, before we go on to our very first interview, I do have something that I think is hilarious and I think very British. And it's something that I really love. And that you're not going to believe this. There is actually a roundabout appreciation society. A roundabout.
A roundabout.
Not
There's the roundabout sort of appreciation society for something.
roundabouts you drive around.
Oh.
And they are a lot
Or
of people.
turnabouts, as they call them here.
Do they call them turnabouts
I've
here?
heard that.
People don't like them here, but you have to know how to use them.
They stop. People stop in the middle of the roundabout
It's not a free for
to
all.
let you out. It's like, no, this is you. You keep going.
It's a very specific way to use a roundabout. And once you know how to use a roundabout, it's safe. Traffic flows. I have never seen an accident, not in England, on a roundabout. Have you? Well, I don't know. My mum told me about her learning how to drive. And you know how you say go straight ahead at the roundabout?
Yeah.
She did. She drove onto the roundabout into the bushes.
Oh, nice. She was taking it very literally.
And then I think my dad walked away, pretended he didn't know her.
Well, and in my experience, the town in the UK with the most roundabouts is Bournemouth.
Really?
I don't know why.
There's
You
just a lot of
everywhere
roundabouts.
you go, there's a lot of roundabouts.
They like to keep that traffic flowing. Well, here's the funny thing. They praise the roundabout appreciation. Let's get my teeth in today. The Roundabout Appreciation Society praised the quirky roundabout in Truro, which I don't know where that is, which features hedgehogs named Cecil, Patricia, Denzel, and Kizzy. And it was highlighted as a beautiful and magnificent roundabout in Birmingham. It's hilarious. So they have a calendar. So you're a lover of roundabouts. You can buy
Everybody's
the
got a thing.
calendar, support the roundabouts. It is fantastic because the hedgehogs are massive, absolutely massive. But they said here that we get a lot of what we call titchmarshes, which is when they are in full bloom. So if you don't know who Alan Titchmarsh is, I love him because he's just an amazing gardener and TV presenter and funny. But gardening is his thing.
Yeah.
So if it's in full bloom, it's a titchmarsh.
Oh,
roundabout.
Well, good to know.
There you go.
And just going to the comments here, Craig, who's actually our guest from last week, says Milton Keynes, I think, has more. Actually, I think you might be right. That's true too.
We're going to have to ask the roundabout people.
And Patrick contributed with Carry On Up the Khyber,
Yes. Oh.
which just by itself is a great name.
Just in itself. Carry on screaming. That's the one.
Oh, that was the one.
Frying tonight.
Carry On Screaming.
It's the Frankenstein and everything.
So I think probably we should get into our
That's
first
enough
guest.
of us. Yeah, that's
I
enough
know,
of us right now. So yeah, we've got this. We did a very interesting interview this week with Steve Sims, and he's known as the real life Wizard of Oz. And actually, thinking back on the interview, it looks like we recreated the whole tornado in the interview a little bit.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
It's a very interesting interview. I was so pleased that Steve allowed us to do this with him because he was coming into town for an engagement, and we just tried to snag some time with him. And we also have to thank Dan from British Taxi for helping us out with it. So, are you ready? Hold on to your hats because here's Steve Sims, the real life Wizard of Oz.
How you doing? Hey, how are you? You alright?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
This is Dan.
Good to see you.
Buddy, how are you? It's
Great to
good
meet you. Yeah, good to see you. Let me grab that bag from you.
Thank you.
Take good care of you.
Come on, let's take a ride.
A bit of class, isn't it?
It is a little bit
Takes
of
your
cold.
bag, takes your bag.
It does.
Sorry, late.
No, you go first. You're good.
Alright, thanks.
So it's not every day that I get to say that I'm going to spend time with the real life Wizard of Oz, Steve Sims. that has to be our first question. How did you get that name, the Wizard of Oz?
Oh, well, I didn't give it to myself. It was actually Forbes that labelled me with that. I did an interview with them, and they turned around and they went, "Oh, you're like the real life Wizard of Oz," and it stuck, which is upsetting because, as we know, he's a creepy little fella behind a curtain
Yes.
that is a fake. So people go, "Oh, Wizard of Oz," and they get rejoicing. Then you go, but he actually never did anything. He was full of shit. So I'm not quite sure it's a great title, but hey, it starts the conversation as well.
But I think sometimes those kind of monikers do help, though, because if someone said to me now, because I know a lot about you, I want to be able to, I don't know, play with my famous rock band. I'd say, "Oh, you need to call the Wizard of Oz."
Yeah.
So I see how it would work, but I think when
Yeah.
you say you really think about it, you're like, it was a creepy little guy.
Creepy little guy, yeah. So maybe Forbes just thought I looked like a creepy little guy. So and I just took it the wrong way. But hey, it's not a bad way to start a dinner party, that's for sure.
It's not. I mean, to have those stories are just great, but they're true.
And exactly, that's what's kind of helped. People, they will get that kind of hook, and then they will go and do a little bit of digging, and then they will go, "Well, hang on a minute. That guy was with the Pope. That guy was with Elon Musk. What the hell does this guy do?"
That's what I did when I fully stalked you online, and I looked at your speeches and I looked at all your websites, but the photographs, I'm like, really? I mean, like, really? This is insane. And I think people could possibly look at you and go, "Oh, he's making it up," but these are real life.
They do.
Connections.
The funny thing is, I've actually had people, and you always get the haters online. And
Always.
I love them. And you get this guy going, "Oh, he doesn't freaking know Elon Musk," and then you'll get someone from Elon Musk's team text him and go, "Yeah, he does."
Yeah, he does.
And then there'll be a picture of me with Elon that they will post. And so it's very funny, some of the people that have actually stood up on my defence.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of really weird.
I like
Yeah.
the fact that you like the haters.
Well, I do.
How do you handle him?
Well, let's be serious, it's funny.
It is.
In fact, I will say that probably about 20% of my client bank, because since the book coming out, I do a lot of private consulting for companies and for entrepreneurs. About 20% of those started off as haters. Because they're doubters. They're like,
Yeah,
"Oh, you
yes.
came up on my feed. You don't know Richard Branson. You don't know how to launch this. You didn't really do that."
It was just a selfie.
And then people will go in there and they'll be like, "You need to read this out. You need to check this out." And then they'll be like, "Hang on, how did you do it?" And I'll be like, "If you want to take it seriously, pay me $2,000 a month and I'll show you how to do it."
Oh.
And then all of a sudden they're like, "Hang on, there's some meat here." And I think, as you were saying earlier about being no BS, just
Yes.
I think the trouble is now everyone is so much trying to be someone that they're not, that they're confusing people. Me, I'm just a blunt instrument.
Do you find
this is it.
Are you more of a like, you've got your blinkers on, this is what I'm doing, you're not worried about what anyone else is doing?
I'm not. In fact, I remember, and I'm going to name drop, I was with Elon Musk at SpaceX about 2 or 3 years ago, and we were chatting away, and I said something about, all these people, because it was it was before NASA actually had him doing all that work.
Oh, so it was prior to that?
Oh yeah, it was prior to that. And I said to him, people are laughing at you because, you've come from a banking industry, PayPal, and now you're running this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people kind of laughing at you, including NASA. And he just went, they laugh at you before they applaud. And I just thought, that is genius.
It is genius.
So that wasn't me that ever said that. That was young Elon. And now he just goes out and he goes, "I'm going to do a Hyperloop. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." And he has no care about the haters. He
Yeah.
cares about the outcome.
This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, and he will just continue to do it. Doesn't care. And I'm a great believer that he's a great example of being a failure today. And I use that word because out of your greatest growth and success, 9 times comes out of your biggest screw up and your biggest mistake. Now that guy has made loads of mistakes
Yes.
and used them as education,
Yes.
and now runs solar panels, cars, space exploration, solar cities, battery farms. He uses his mistakes to become great.
And you're going to make
And he doesn't care.
mistakes, aren't you?
But people are scared of that.
They are scared.
And it's a shame.
Now, you mentioned some of the things that you've done for people. I mean, they're unbelievable. I was reading about the Harry Potter request.
Oh, the castle.
Yes, tell us about that.
That one was quite. That one was a good example of people getting reality and movie life confused because there is no Harry Potter castle. It's all CGI. So when you get those kind of requests, the first thing, it's a great deal of psychology in this business, we found.
Oh, is there really?
Well, yeah, because people come to you and they go, I want to do this. And it's funny because they say they want to do this, but they may actually want to do that. You know, it's a little bit, so you have to grill down. You have to say, oh, that sounds fantastic. Why do you want to do that? And you need to get to the root of the problem. We had, well, not to the problem, but to the cause, the
Of
core.
what they really want, yeah.
We had this guy contact us once that said, I want to meet Journey. And it was Richard Branson that I'd worked with before. He made the introduction. So I'm coming from a good source, high profile
Yes.
client. He contacts me, he said, I want to meet the rock band Journey. I said, that sounds great. What do you want to do? He said, I want to go backstage, shake their hand. So I'm like, that sounds fantastic. You know, you always say that.
Right.
That sounds fantastic. But let me ask you this. Why do you want to do that? And I wanted to find out why. Because they're going to come off a stage, they're going to have sang to 20,000 people, they're going to shake your hands, they'll all be sweaty, they'll have forgotten your name by the time they got to the changing room.
And it's over.
Yeah. And I said, why is that important? And then he starts to tell me about his life history. Like all entrepreneurs, it's up and down.
Yeah, it
Got
is.
money, got no money,
Right, yeah.
got money again. I'm ill, I'm healthy, I'm divorced. It's just a normal life.
Yeah.
But all the way through, the Journey tunes have got him through the lows and celebrated the highs.
Oh.
So
there's way more meaning to it than I just want to shake their hands.
So that was it. So when we actually spoke to Journey and conveyed
Oh.
that they had actually been the theme tune to his life,
Oh my gosh.
they actually got him on stage and he sang 4 tunes as the shortest term lead singer of the rock
Oh, the
band Journey.
shortest one, short-term thing.
Yeah.
But then that's an experience, isn't it? It's not, we had a selfie and I shook their hand. It's an
Oh yeah.
experience that,
You know,
that he'll remember.
it's not a couple of tickets. You were actually backstage, you were called on, you were mic'd up, you were the lead singer of Journey.
You're selling experiences, aren't you?
We're selling an emotion, a trigger,
Yeah.
a response. You know, we always say that we give rich people really interesting cocktail stories, but that's what we did in Bluefish.
No, it's so impressive. I mean, everything you do for your clients is so impressive. But what impresses you? What impresses you?
Wow, that's a deep question. I suppose I like being a detective. I like to find the core.
Yeah.
You know, we had a client this year, we were working with Elton John, and he wanted to meet Elton John. We actually, funny enough, this was a great example, because we had 2 phone calls within the same week for the exact same thing. This guy contacts us and he said, I want to meet Elton John. And I said, oh, that sounds great, you know, I always do that. Why is that important? Well, he's the greatest singer, he's an icon, he's Sir Elton. I want to shake his hand, I want to get a selfie. All right, I'll come back to you. There's no emotion in that request.
Right.
A few days later, I get another guy contact me. I want to meet Elton John. Why do you want to meet Elton John? Well, he's one of the greatest singers of all time. And I went, oh, is that it? And I was ready to go. I was ready to kill that phone call. And he went, yeah. And I detected that there was something there. And I went,
Something else.
so what else? I said, because yeah, he's the greatest singer. He's one of the last surviving icons, you know, of generations. But
Yeah.
why is he important to you? And he went quiet and he said, my dad used to drive me to school. We only had 1 cassette in the car, and it was Elton. And every morning and every night when I used to go to school and come home, we would sing
Oh.
the Elton John
Oh,
tunes.
they would sing
He said to
together.
her, he said, so my dad's not here anymore.
Oh.
But every time Elton plays on the radio, my dad's singing it.
Oh my gosh, I think
And
that's
I was like,
fantastic. Were you crying?
that's-
Do you ever cry?
I'm going to say no. But yeah, because it's that getting to that reaction. What you're doing now is you're getting down right to the core. You know?
Yes.
And then when you're given that challenge, how can you not want to do
And it's
it?
got to feel fantastic when you
Yeah.
fulfill that for someone.
We took him there. He met Elton John and he got his photograph with him. They chatted. He cried. That was it. And you go home and you went, yeah, I did something pretty
It's
cool.
got to feel really good.
It does feel good. So, you know, I really don't care about, you know, the kind of like the arsewipe that just wants to get a photo with someone famous. I want to know what the trigger, the core, the reason is behind it.
And making it happen for
And
them.
if we accept it, then we're going to get involved.
Oh, I just think that's such a great story, though, and that's something that'll last his whole lifetime. And I'm sure
Oh,
he'll
yeah.
tell his kids.
I got a client contact me the other day. I haven't spoken to him for about 5 years, and he phoned me up and he said, I woke up this morning thinking about what you've done for me. He said, and I just had to call you and say thanks. Like 5 years later, and I said to him, why haven't we done anything for 5 years? And he said, how can I top that?
Let's get you on board.
But it was really nice to hear that and the kind of response.
Are you that type of person? You're looking for, these, there are dream experiences. Do you yourself look for those, or
No,
are you
I'm
not really
actually-
that kind of person?
No, and I think that's maybe what helps me be that kind of person. The fact that I'm not. I'm quite a grumpy, antisocial cynic. I ride around on motorcycles. I'm a big, ugly lad. I'm not the kind of guy you want to see walking down the street kind of thing. If you didn't know who I was and I was walking down the street, I'm not sure you'd walk up and go, hey, you look interesting. You'd probably avoid me like the plague. So it's the fact that I get to live vicariously through
their
them.
experiences.
And we shut down the Accademia di Galleria, the famous museum in Florence recently. And we because the client wanted a dinner party in Florence.
Oh.
We closed down an entire museum, and then halfway through them chewing their pasta, we actually had Andrea Bocelli come in and serenade him at the feet of Michelangelo's David. And I sit there, and I don't take it for granted.
Right.
I get goosebumps. I'm thinking, look, Mum, look what I just pulled off. It's just it's still that annoying little Irish kid that is just getting his arse in the places that he shouldn't, and just going, God, I can't believe I did that.
I know that you were saying that, I was reading that when you look back on your darkest times, there's a common thread that goes all the way through that, and that was, I either diluted myself or I kind of sold myself out. Do you feel there were a time when you were just, like I say, just not being yourself, and then you look back and you go, no, this wasn't worth it,
Well, that was my dark hour that I've openly reported on, because I was living in Geneva in a penthouse. I've been married forever. I met my wife in England, and we were 16, 17, and so
that's such a long
we've been
time.
together forever. And I had always been the guy that used to ride around on a bike, black t-shirt, jeans, and that was always me. And then I was going down to Monaco for like about my third year with Ferrari, and it wasn't the first year, it wasn't the second year, but for some reason the third year, I panicked that no one would take me seriously.
Oh.
No idea why. I was already doing well.
It just came up.
It just came on. All entrepreneurs, we have this button that suddenly goes.
Yeah.
And I went out and I took out my eyebrow rings and my earrings. I bought some tailor-made suits, and I got a Ferrari.
Oh.
And I suddenly realised that I went to all these events in the Ferrari, wearing the suit, and it was like wearing a suit of armour. I couldn't move
didn't feel
normally
right.
because it wasn't right.
Yeah.
But I was still trying, and in doing so, the people that I was talking with, they kind of felt something was wrong.
off,
so
off.
they didn't want to. So I was losing connections, and everything was going south. And I got some photographs back from me in Monaco, and you want to think this is wonderful. I'm leaning against the car, there's a yacht in the background, but I suddenly realised that ain't me.
Who is that? Yeah.
And I'd sold myself out, and I had always said, look, this is it. This is as good as you get. This is Steve Sims. You want to deal with me? Great. You don't? We'll
great
move on.
too.
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
No issue. But I realised that I had actually sold me, and I actually went into a horrible bender. I locked myself in a room, got drunk for about 2 days running. It was a bad time of my life, and I woke up and I ain't doing that again. And I put the suits in. I never wore those suits again.
And that's
In
been
fact,
done.
those suits went from Geneva to Palm Beach to where I am now in Los Angeles, and they got given away. I think maybe about 5 years ago. We moved home, found a box, opened them up, and there they all were.
I think that's such a great lesson for anyways, especially now we've got so many people who are influencers and they're mimicking other people. I mean, you don't feel grounded in trying to be what other people are.
There's this word that's going around that pisses me off called authenticity.
I think it's the word of the year this year.
It is definitely the mouse pad and the mug logo. But the trouble is, whenever anyone turns around and goes, oh, that man is so authentic, he's acknowledging, or they're acknowledging, that the rest of the planet's not. It's like going, he's authentic because you lot are a bunch of liars,
Right.
you know? And that's bad. So I believe now we should be transparent. You know, life's not what it looks like on Instagram.
No,
I did a posting a while ago where I said I wish my life was as good as it looks on Instagram.
Oh, my food at least was as good as it is on Instagram.
But no, we've all got the same shit. We've all got problems. You know, invoices get paid late, and they put you into a bind, and you do a promise here, and you have to hustle to get it done, and you've taken on a contract here, and you wish you hadn't done it. It's all the same crap, no matter where you are. And I think we all need to realise it. We all sit on the toilet, we all put our socks on. So I'm a great believer that we need to focus on being as transparent, because that also, funny enough, helps other people be transparent, which bonds a relationship. And I think influencers today, they need to stop doing the selfies down their tops and need to start focusing on how they can help each other.
Yes, they do.
Because I do it and they still look bad.
Yeah, you should not get your boobs out.
Yeah, no, it's not a good look for me.
But I think the way you talk, and I would imagine because you're here to do a keynote speech.
I am.
Just the way you talk, it would give people permission to be themselves. It's like giving them encouragement, like just be yourself.
Do you know, that's the funny thing. So here's the story. About 2 years ago, I got approached by one of the largest publishing houses in America, and because by that time people started to know kind of who this guy was within a certain circle, not a big circle, but in a certain circle, and they said, would you do a book and call out all the famous rich people you deal with? And I went, no.
Right.
I'll be dead, let's be honest.
Oh yeah, that'd be the end.
That'd be the end of me, yeah. So then they turned around and they said, hey, instead of you actually doing a book on who you do things for, would you be willing to do a book on what you do and how you do it? And I suddenly thought to myself, hang on, I'm a bricklayer from East London and I'm doing this with these people? Yeah, but I didn't think it would take off. We didn't even bring a website out.
Oh,
truthfully.
Did you not? You just came out with the book.
Just came out with a book and thought, you like it, you don't like it. And funny enough, they sent me $2,500. And they sent me $2,500 and they said, go down to Barnes & Noble, get a table, a couple of bottles of champagne, sit there on a Friday night and sign books. And I went, no one's going to come near me, you know? So I got the $2,500 and I went down to Sunset Boulevard. I phoned up my mates and we all went down. I put the $2,500 behind a bar and I went, kick us out when that's over.
Oh.
And we just got drunk. And there's a video done by Sonia and Cole Hatter that, and I'm glad they did it because there's video evidence. Right at the beginning, they're going, oh, we're proud to be here. We called it the book launch. You know, so we stuck a bunch of books on the side of the bar, didn't invite anyone else other than our friends, and no media, no publicity. And at the beginning, they're like, we're really proud Steve's done this book, and he's got a lot of nuggets, and it's really going to do well. And then as the night goes on, they're obviously getting blasted, and they're like, Steve's an arsehole, you know, he can't even write. So, and we found that video so funny, we released it, and it became a bestseller. And then we started getting people going, look, are you doing speaking gigs? You know, are you doing consulting? Are you
snowballing from there?
I suddenly realised I had an obligation.
Right.
And I suddenly realised that nine times out of 10, the biggest problem in your life, in your business, is actually you.
It's you.
And so I started doing a few gigs and I started doing some consulting. I was already consulting and branding for major companies. And then I had these entrepreneurs going, look, I run a plumbing business in Beverly Hills. Could you help me? And I would be like, well, what's your marketing like? And I'm like, that's freaking horrible, mate. You know, who are you trying to talk to, you know?
Right.
And so I started helping people and I ended up working. I did, my recent client was a vegan lipstick brand.
Really?
So I've gone through hat manufacturers, jewellery firms. It's been wide and fun.
Now your book
that I've got into
is what I would like to say. You spill the tea on the art of making things
well
happen.
said, spill the tea.
Did you like that little tie?
I
in
like
there,
that.
Steve?
Very well played.
So who needs to read your book? Who needs to pick that book up?
Anyone that needs to shake themselves up a bit.
Okay.
And what I openly say is that if a bricklayer from London can be working with Elton John, you're already out of excuses. Right. There's all these people and they sit there going, well, I need this program and I need an SEO manager and a social content team and I need email marketing and then merge funnels. No, you don't. You need to focus on solving a problem and then finding out who's got that problem.
Yes.
And I've often said, like, you know, when you go and buy Tiffany jewellery, it comes in the blue box and it's got the thing and it's got the thing. because you need all of that to validate the money you've spent.
That's
okay?
right, yeah.
But when was the last time you ever looked at the packaging for a headache tablet? You haven't.
You haven't.
You've got a problem. This tablet says it'll get
This is
rid
a
of it.
solution.
Bang, you take it. So we focus on kind of like the aspirin mentality.
Well, I guess it's the intention, isn't it? I think a lot of people don't ask what's their intention behind what they're doing.
Yeah, and I
Some
think
people do things because they think other people are doing them or should be doing
well,
that.
it comes back to the core. I said to you before that when we were dealing with our clients, we didn't listen to what they asked. We asked them why that was important.
Yeah.
And so now when you're speaking to clients and they go, hey, I've got this company, and you go, well, okay, you've got this. What does it do? Well, it does this, this, this. Okay, who does it help? What are you trying to do with the company?
Yeah.
What's the next steps for the company? How are you trying to grow it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where do you want this company to be in 5? They haven't planned all of that.
I know.
They're in Beverly Hills and they go, oh, I want a famous person to use my plumbing services. Why?
Oh, yeah.
How does that help?
Yeah.
So
it is, and I think it's such a basic question.
But people don't ask.
They don't ask themselves that question.
The most important question, a lot of people say the most powerful question, the most powerful question and answer in the world is no. Okay? I'm a great believer that the most powerful question in the world is why.
Why?
And people will come up to us and they go, hey, I need to do this. And I'll be like, that's fantastic. Why?
But why? Yeah.
And I had a guy literally on the plane said, hey, Steve, you in LA next week? And I went, why? Yeah. I value the answer. I want to know what's the reason behind it.
Behind everything that you're
And
doing.
so I believe everyone, for everyone watching this, try asking why more.
Steve, the Wizard of Oz, I have one last question for you. Have I made your dreams come true by you having an interview in the back of a British taxi in Las Vegas?
Yeah, I never thought that would happen. Dan the man and his brilliant taxis. No, I think I'm done. I think I've got my my wish done.
I'm glad I've made all of your dreams come true.
Thank
I've
you.
so enjoyed our interview. We could talk for hours. You're so interesting. Good luck with your speaking engagements.
Thank
and
you.
we'll make sure everybody gets to know how on earth they can find you and stalk you and learn from you. It's been great.
Perfect. Thank you.
you so much.
Cheers.
Let's go.
That's been great. I appreciate it. Thanks.
I told you he was a really interesting guy. And did you love how he recreated the tornado with the hair blowing and the blouse going? But he's a really interesting guy. Make sure you follow him. Just go to the website, stevedsims.com, and you'll be able to follow him, find his book, wherever he's speaking. I know he had a huge engagement here in Vegas. And making dreams come true. All I know is if he was to make my dream come true, it would be dinner with Ricky Gervais, Brian May, and Russell Brand, because they're all animal lovers. So big thank you to Steve Sims for that. So was that fun? We had a good time.
Fun. That was fun.
Yeah.
Now, our next guest is actually my business partner of over 30 years. And the reason we're getting her on is, well, for many reasons. But she's also the power behind Lifecast Studios, which is the company that does these unique hand castings. And in our first show, we did a hand casting of Joe Elliott of Def Leppard. So we thought we'd invite her on to give us an update on how that's going and just to share a little bit more about Lifecast Studios. So, welcome, Amanda Deacon.
Well, hello, guys.
Do you want a cup of tea?
I would love a
It's
cup of
time.
tea.
It is time for tea,
It's
isn't it?
tea time.
It really is.
Absolutely. I'd like 2 sugars and a little
I
bit of
will
cream.
do that for you. Don't worry.
Nice.
This is
Thank you.
not a left-handed teapot, by the way.
Uh-oh.
I just have to tell you that.
Well, you got to be ambidextrous. And actually, we did. You did that thing on the Facebook page about the dunking of the biscuits. Which ones?
Yes.
Who
Oh my gosh.
prefers what? Who won? Hobnobs?
I think Hobnobs were in the lead for the best biscuit to dunk. Oh, hello. What was the one that you said you liked to dunk?
Yeah, Gary Baldy biscuits.
But what did you say
It's
your
my-
nan calls them?
It was my nan. She always used to say, "Do you want some dead fly biscuits?"
And you said yes. As a kid, you're like, all right, I'll
Yeah,
have.
sure.
Are you taking milk with yours?
I will actually. Thanks.
Fantastic. I'm actually going to give you the milk because I don't know how milky you have it. And then that's a whole other debate, isn't it? Whether you put the milk in first or the milk after.
I have
There's
no
a
clue.
whole able
I think you're supposed to put it in
do-
before.
I like mine after because then I
think.
can control the colour of the tea because the colour is the key, isn't it? The right colour tea is really important. But yeah, I think hobnobs were the leading one. It's
And
all
McVitie's digestives.
yes, and it's all
Yeah.
about the timing because it's a bit risky with a rich tea. Don't you think a rich tea is a risky biscuit to dunk?
Risky biscuit. It's true. Wasn't that a Tom Cruise movie?
Are you having more tea, Ian?
I will. I did have that first cup at the top of the show.
And what do you want in your tea? Or do you want to pour your own? Let's let you pour your
I'll
own
pour my own.
with the right-handed teapot.
So anyway, Amanda,
Yes.
thanks for being here like you are every day.
Yes, I am.
Yes,
Morning
she
and
is.
night, 24/7.
Exactly. And we obviously have worked together forever and put this place together and performed and directed and all those other things in fun places around the world. But the main thing that we're talking about today is Livecast. Livecast Studios, which does these unique hand, body, whatever castings you might want.
Absolutely.
And so maybe just tell us a little bit more than I've just done. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, we provide this service as Lifecast Studios is a service that we provide to many different industries, but we actually cast the hand of babies, adults,
A lot of celebrities. Right?
Celebrities.
and also celebrities too.
What sort of
so-
celebrities have we done?
So far, we have done Joe Elliott.
Elliot.
Of Joe Elliott of Def Leppard, and we've done Roger Daltrey of The Who. We have done Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
Trying to think.
Terry Fator.
Oh, Terry Fator, that's correct.
Puppeteer guy. And then
Absolutely.
Mary Wilson, of course. We had that
Absolutely.
one on the show
Yeah,
here
it's
as well.
beautiful.
Yeah, that
one.
was-
Oh, there's
we-
Mary's. Yeah.
That was funny because we went to her house to do it in her kitchen, so she was.
Yeah, that was good.
She was great.
So now there's been a few that you've done that are kind of unusual. Like we just saw there was one where those people had those Rolexes on,
That's right.
and it was at the beginning, right?
Yeah, they came in. It was a mum and a
We didn't really know
daughter.
what was going on at that point, so it was a bit of
Yeah.
unknown territory.
That's right. So they came in and they had these beautiful watches on, and they were saying to us, "Oh, we want to keep our watches in the cast." And I remember looking at Ian thinking, "Okay,
Are
well,
we
let's,
insured?
let's and we were just like, let's just go for it." And I knew obviously that the alginate that we use is safe anyway. So I was like, "Yeah,
In
let's
theory.
go for it." So we
But
did.
as we were pouring, just out of curiosity, what's the combined value of those? And they were like $80,000.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
All right.
Ah, I bet you wish they'd never told you.
Well, yeah. pretty
Yeah,
much.
I'd say I was definitely sort of thinking, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what if water gets in there? But anyway, it was fine and it came out a treat.
I
So
mean, the
they-
detail's unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
it's
I don't
incredible.
think-
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, you can see
you
every fingerprint. I mean, it's just brilliant. And I mean, the one you did for Joe, think about it. He's a singer.
Yeah.
Microphone,
Oh, yeah.
he'd want that, of his hand, or anyone that works with their hands, like magicians. You've done a
Yeah.
couple of magicians.
We have,
haven't you?
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
now the one with
Yeah,
Joe,
Penn and Teller.
how's that coming along? Because we saw we had the casting process itself. We saw Joe doing that. So how's it evolving?
Actually, yeah, we poured it up. We've poured it out of the mold, so it's in the cleanup process right now.
Right, I think we had a little video for that too.
So it takes about a week or so to really get that cleaned up to where we want to be able to either paint it, mold it, do whatever we need to do for that next process.
I mean, you
Right.
can be so creative, though, can't you? I mean, you did one of me and my dog's paw.
That's right, we
That
did.
was fun, and a lot of peanut butter on a
Yes.
spoon
A lot of peanut
to keep
butter.
her interested. But that turned out great. But you've done babies, and you've done
Yes.
families, and you've done charitable work, and I mean, it's never ending how
all
creative you can
occasions, absolutely, all occasions.
be. And I think you keep thinking of more ideas too, don't you? You think that we could do this, we could do that. I mean, look at that. That looks amazing.
So what's the next step with Joe's?
Actually, we are looking to do. We've got actually 2 different versions, and the one you're seeing here right now is the one with the microphone with the stand. So we are going to be able to create this piece for him to be able to give back to charity.
Right.
So that piece is going to be auctioned off, so that then that can give money back to charity, of course.
Yeah, and I know he wants a few for himself as well.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, it does.
He does.
Yeah,
He's
actually, I
already
think
put
he said
that
like
order in.
6.
I know.
I can
Yeah.
imagine the bids would go really high for that.
Yeah.
They've got a
Oh, I think
massive
so.
fan base.
I mean,
haven't they?
we had a lot of the fans watching our show with that item.
We did.
And, it really gave me the opportunity to kind of look into that sort of fan base. And it's huge.
I mean, I know they
and
were
very
interested.
committed.
They were interested in the auction, weren't they? So, I mean, do you know how they're going to do the auction? Is it going to be online? Is it going to be at an event? Or
More than likely, I think it will be an event.
that'd be so
So
great.
that'll be really, really great.
And I think people really enjoy that. It's they love this particular band or a particular singer, but then the fact that they can bid and then help a charity at the same time. I mean, that's just twofold
Yeah.
for a lot of people, for the fans.
Yeah, it's our tagline, giving a hand to charity.
Oh, I love
is-
that.
That is
kinda cool.
I
So
really love
do you
that.
think, I'm putting my 2 lumps in my tea.
Never swallowed my tea.
Do you think it's something that could end up just being more than a one-off?
As far as the...
Well, I mean that one is going to go to charity, but what if there were more?
Absolutely. I think there is a huge potential of being able to create like a run of 200.
With all those profits going to the same charity?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
So being able to create many more funds, which would be amazing.
It would be, honestly. It's so different. I mean, I think what people also need to think, if they're interested in something like this, they might think, oh, I don't know if they'll be able to do that. They should just get hold of you, shouldn't they? Because
Absolutely.
you have come up with some brilliant ideas and
Thank
solutions and how we can do it.
Right.
I mean, you've done whole body casts.
Absolutely,
and,
yeah.
it's...
Yeah, right across the board. I mean, for every occasion too. I mean, you're capturing that moment in time. So, for weddings, for engagements, baby feet, baby hands.
You've done one actually at the reception of
Yes.
a wedding as
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it was the day of the wedding that they got
Absolutely.
their
Right
casting,
in
which
the
I think
middle
is
of the
kind of
dance
nice.
floor.
So
that was
I
good.
just got chills, actually. So that's a moment in time.
Absolutely.
Remembered forever through a cast
Yeah.
on your wedding day
Absolutely.
itself.
They're taking the plunge. So,
Literally.
Literally taking the plunge. Now there is another industry that has very recently come to you
Yes.
to do some castings, which is
The funeral industry.
Yeah.
So, yes, we were contacted via various different funeral homes to be able to actually go to the funeral home to take a casting of the deceased.
how was that? Now you've done quite a few. Of
Yeah,
these
we have
at this
done quite a
point.
few now.
So how was it on the first?
Yeah, that's what
the
I
first
want to
time?
know.
Actually, the very first one.
And I am actually asking this as a genuine question because I have not been,
No.
and I don't know.
You don't think you could?
I mean, you never say never, but it's just
Yeah.
not something I've really kind of.
But I think you were telling me that when you realise what you're doing for that family, it's
Absolutely.
you're going in a different
Yeah, you
angle.
don't even think about it. I mean, yes, remember the first one I did? I got through doing that first one, but then when I got home, I cried my eyes out.
Yeah.
just the whole experience. But really, for when we go into the mortuary, we have this one opportunity to create this piece, and we don't get another opportunity.
That's right, yeah.
So it has to be right, and all the different elements and all the different processes that we have to do to get to that. There's a structure. So by going through that, you're so focused at what you're doing
To get
you
it right,
Don't
yeah.
think about the fact of
Yeah.
what you're actually
And
doing.
they are
you know
beautiful
what I mean?
pieces.
Yeah,
you
they
know,
are.
and it's not for everyone. I mean, I know that it's either something you would really want or really wouldn't. I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I can only imagine what the families feel like once you present, that piece to them.
And yeah, they really are completely floored.
Are
They're so happy. I had one lady a couple of weeks ago when she came to pick up. It was her father's hand, and this particular hand, the way it came out, just the position was perfect, and you could put actually a paintbrush through it. So because he was a painter, I wasn't quite sure how that was going to work out, purely because once the hand goes into the material,
That's the position it's in. Yeah.
absolutely. So when she got it, she picked it up and she was like, I feel like this is my dad. You know, I feel like I'm holding my dad's hand right now. You know, and she was just blown away, but she was so happy.
She was so happy.
And she said, now I can sit and I can hold it.
Oh,
you know?
I think that's absolutely incredible. So I could only imagine that it made it easier as you went back, knowing the response from the families and that
Right.
it was so positive. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's the last representation of them, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
And for that's just
Yeah.
it makes you want to cry.
And it's a 3D. You can pick it up, and when you touch it, it's a very powerful piece.
Yes.
Well, and that's, I know people have asked, say, well, you say about 3D. Well, why not just do a scan or something like that with today's technology? But first of all, I think it's kind of cool that it is the anti-technology. It's goes back as far as ancient Egypt. But the fact that it's tactile, I mean, you know, even with our celebrity castings that we've been doing as well, is that this is actually a connection to that person.
Absolutely.
Digital scanning ultimately is not.
No.
And I'm sure there are machines that would be able to get that degree of poor depth detail.
Yes.
And I'm sure they will evolve in time. But where it is right now, the detail is insanely fine.
Yeah, right down to the fingertips. You can see the
It's incredible.
fingerprints.
We actually have to mess around with the fingerprints on some of the celebrants, because otherwise you're actually putting celebrities' fingerprints out there, which
I never thought about it.
so
never thought about that.
we do. There is some work that gets to be done there.
Well, I would say that's probably the most unique part that you do with live cast. What's been the funniest thing that you've done?
Oh my goodness!
Or just made you laugh?
Actually, there was one where I did of my friend Kelly, her little daughter. We did her feet in ballet shoes.
Right.
So
Actually, that's a beautiful piece.
Yeah. So when we were casting her feet, of course, she was in point. So and I had her actually between two chairs so that she could lift her feet up together and put them in. Anyway, when we were then ready to pull her feet out, because it takes about 10 minutes or so from start to finish as far as the actual setting of the alternate, and as we pulled her feet out, it did the loudest sort of like fart noise. And it was, we were all roaring with laughter. But it got so far and then it got stuck and then we couldn't get our feet out. Anyway, so that was a funny
Now, there
moment.
is something that you do I think is really fabulous. I mean, it can be for any time of the year, but the Valentine's lips.
Right,
Tell everyone about the lips.
Yeah. We actually just cast the lips of whoever wants to have
So you
it
can
done.
give a kiss.
Yes,
Literally, you can give a
exactly.
kiss.
Give it a kiss.
But it's a fun little piece that we can
I think
do.
it's a lovely little
and
gift.
we trim round the lips because we actually do it slightly bigger.
Yes.
So somebody sits back, we put a little container around the lips, and then they sit back. We pour the material in. It sets in a few minutes.
No, I mean both of you though. I think you've got a massive history though in creating.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? This is not something you're like, we're going to do this right now. You have an amazing education and experience in casting.
We've
and
always
that kind
been
of thing.
makers.
Yeah,
you're makers.
Big time.
So this was sort of within our DNA to kind of evolve that.
Yeah, it makes sense because of everything else that you've done.
And obviously, life cast is, the life cast in the body.
Yeah.
So we did those many, many years ago for when we were creating suits.
For costumes and all the other weird stuff that we do around here. So we have our workshop here and we've made all sorts of fun.
Yeah.
And
props
all
and
kinds of ways
costumes
to
and
make it
things.
happen as well. Solving problems and
Right,
everything. This,
yeah.
like the little girl with the with the point shoes on, and how she's gonna have to like suspend herself. You know.
Right.
But how else? You've got to think of those things.
Yeah,
haven't you? Those
absolutely.
logistics.
And every one is different. Every
Yeah.
single one you do. There's not there's the basics, obviously, the same, but how you hold in a certain position, how you're going to get it out, how you're going to mold it.
And for personalities as
that.
well. I mean, even with some of the celebrity targets that we have,
Right.
we kind of think what would be really nice as the art piece. I'm doing this with my hands like I'm playing a piano because, one of these days I think I really want to corner Elton John. And I already know what that piece would be because we'd have to have them all blinged up and everything because you can cast the rings in with it as well.
Yeah.
But I would get a piece of piano as the bass and have him play the first like strike of Benny and the
Ben
Jets.
and the Jets.
You know that
Yes,
chord, but have him on that
You're like,
pose,
that
so
was
that when
the-
you look at it, you go, "Oh, that's cool." But then when you actually look at what the note,
what he was playing
Yeah,
was.
he actually plays.
yeah. So
And I
that's,
love that song too. It's
so
fabulous.
obviously, I'm sure Sir Elton watches our
I'm
show.
sure he's watching the show.
So if he does, then by all means come over to Lifecast Studios, and we can.
So who
cast
would your
in.
dream person be then to cast? Who would that be?
Wow.
Mine is Elton, clearly.
There
I
you
just,
go. We've already
you know.
put Ian's out there. Maybe you should
Yeah.
talk to Steve Sims about that.
Right.
Make dreams come true for
He does.
everyone. What would it
Wow.
be for you?
That's a tough one.
Maybe ones that have gone by,
Yeah. I mean, it would have been wonderful to get Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Prince, or
Prince,
and that's the thing. Every time
yes.
somebody
Whitney
passes,
Houston.
you kind of go, "Oh,
There'll never be
You know,
another. There'll
that-
never be
right.
another
Exactly.
Prince. There'll never be another,
exactly."
Yeah.
So now we have that in our minds as well, because it's
Yeah.
as much of a kind of a curation of a collection of these moments in time in history in terms of entertainment or important people of prominence. That's kind of what we're revolving.
Well, I also see that for families too. You know, people do those pictures of the baby 3 months, 6 months, That they
Right.
could have that whole progression
Yeah,
of like
yeah,
little
yeah.
feet as they
Yes,
get bigger.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
I just think
or
it's
hands or
yeah. Have you had
Yeah.
any weird requests? You must have that you can talk.
There have been a couple, and we
Yes.
always say that we'll
do.
cast anything with the odd exception.
Yes,
The odd
exactly.
exception.
Yeah, odd being the operative word. I think.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no.
I think with any industry, you get weird requests,
I'm
don't
sure,
you? You
yeah.
know.
well, we had Claire Sinclair, which she was the Playboy Playmate of the
Yes.
That's right.
year on a particular year, and she came and did this torso cast, this chest cast,
beautiful.
but for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah.
And she live streamed it on
Periscope.
Periscope
Yeah.
at the time. Needless to say, we had a few thousand live
Requests,
views.
special
But-
requests.
But she kind of did it live, and then we got the first layer of the blue kind of,
Yeah.
Silicon.
and then she went live again.
And then
So
she
it
went live
wasn't-
again
yeah.
because
it
people were
wasn't-
hanging on with
Oh, yeah.
bated
Right.
breath to
They
see
were
what the
quite-
next. Like that's got to come off.
She was quite. They were quite disappointed that there
Move
was
the
a gap.
camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
So that was unusual.
There's so many unique
Yeah,
things.
there-
Like
there
say
is.
charities,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
companies that want something unique to a charity that they're supporting, like you're saying, breast cancer. They can reach out.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
and like we do with our charity, we buy a lot of things and we put them in our auction. Because
Yeah,
we know
yeah.
that they'll bring more money.
Right.
But to have something custom made that's got to go in your auction
yeah.
that's very specific to that charity is so meaningful.
Right.
It really is.
And I just think it's just such a great business. It's unique. I don't know anyone else that's doing that.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, there
Well, I mean,
are.
we're not the only
Absolutely there are.
ones,
No,
but,
for sure.
yeah.
I mean, there's definitely individuals and smaller companies out there that do this, as well as I mean, you can buy kits to do it yourself,
Yeah.
but I mean, which is a
But
mixed bag in terms of their success.
Yes, it's not-
sometimes,
yeah.
but we tend to think of it, more as this kind of unique art piece, and every single piece we just. Put so much work into it has to be perfect.
Well, yeah, because
Nothing
it's-
goes out that's
yeah,
not
'cause it's
No,
not
that's
just
right.
the hand or the feet. You decide how you're going to mount it, don't
That's
you?
right, yeah.
What
I-
kind of
Mounting, do we do?
coatings, I guess.
Oh, yeah,
What
I
kind
mean-
of what's the word?
Anything?
Yeah, we
Just finishes.
Yeah,
we
finishes.
Yeah, we as far as paints, we always use acrylic because we're generally using
If we're doing
plaster.
a faux finish, but you can
Right.
use other materials too.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely.
So it'll
And
make
then
it,
we've
it
got
can look like
various-
the bronze finish or pewter or that kind of
And
stuff.
you've done cases.
Yes,
and
absolutely. Then shadow boxes
Yeah, it's
and,
kinda
and on
fun.
bases and a whole myriad of different stuff.
It's amazing. Have you ever had anyone come back that's broken theirs and said, "Oh my gosh, do you
Yes.
still have the
Yeah.
mold of that particular one?"
Actually, no, because they are a one-off. But generally, we can repair it.
You can
It's-
repair.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, I had to actually. Funny enough, it was the lady that we did recently with her wedding on her wedding day, but they had moved and she had snapped a finger off and her ring
Right.
was gone and she'd lost that bit.
Oh
So
gosh.
we remolded the ring and then stuck her finger back on and it looked like it had never been broken.
So it sounds like
And I
Frankenstein all over
opened a
again.
cupboard in the workshop, and a couple of rolls of tape dropped out and broke all Terry Fator's fingers off once.
Yes.
Yeah, which probably I shouldn't have said.
And
it was repaired and
And I
nobody...
just said to him, please be careful when you open that up so that nothing falls on it.
It's great. So,
You
yeah,
broke
that was
his
good.
finger. You can actually say, though, I broke Terry Fate's fingers, the famous
Yes.
puppeteer.
Could have ended his career right
Well,
there.
he is a puppeteer and a ventriloquist, though, isn't he? All at the same
Well,
time.
actually, he's
Yeah.
a ventriloquist.
What do they prefer? Just
I don't know.
ventriloquist?
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. We'll have to get him in.
But when you
and
think
ask him.
about people who work with their hands, you know, like you say, singers with microphones,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
magicians,
Drummers.
It's
fun.
it's endless.
It is. It
Snap.
is. So well, I mean, and that's about it for the update now. But I mean, I
Absolutely.
guess the next update will be the finished item.
Yes, it will be in a couple of weeks. Then
Couple of
we'll have
weeks. Sweet.
another update,
It'll be exciting when that goes up
and
for auction.
it should be finished by then.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, Era and I have got to keep working on our other business and this place and
Absolutely.
everything else.
Yeah.
32 years, you
I
know.
think it's 33 now.
You're telling your age there. You're telling your age.
We were 2
You were 2 years old.
when we started working together.
Now, do you want to reference who this man is here for our Anglophiles? Because I think a lot of people were looking, what the heck is
Let me
that?
grab this guy here.
I tried to abduct him from Patrick's house.
Yeah, he's a flower man.
I was unsuccessful.
He is absolutely a flower man, and it comes from a private collection, actually from your house.
Yes, it does.
But this was Mother's Pride flower, and this was their dude.
Did he have a name? I can't remember.
They were like Mr. Men, weren't they? But they weren't Mr. Men.
But they weren't. But you wanted to collect them. Didn't you have to cut things out of the back of the bag of flour and send them
But
in
this is
to
really
get
from
them?
what, 70s?
Actually, I think it's 60s.
60s.
I
Oh.
wonder if your mum would know.
What do you know, Mum?
Mummy Harrington. How did we get them? Did we have to send in the back of the flour bag?
No?
Yes.
You know what? Come on over here.
Yes,
Come on over here.
Come on.
Come around. Come and sit here.
She can't believe you've just done that to her. We're going to have you talk about the
We're going to have you scoot
flower
in.
men.
I'm actually already slightly off centre anyway, so you scoot in. Get right close.
This is his mum.
This is my mum.
So instead of
Over here,
figuring
right
out
over
how
here. Say
to
hi.
watch the show,
And I know,
just
I
bring
know,
her on.
I know your nephew, Mike,
did.
is watching probably
He
from
is.
Greece.
He is.
So yes,
It's a family affair right
It's
now,
a
isn't
family
it?
affair today, isn't it,
it
Charles?
is for sure. It is.
So did you collect these as well
No,
yourself?
I didn't, and you really put me on the spot. But I would suspect that you
She's
either-
going to get me after.
I would suspect that you probably cut a coupon out of the back of the flour bag or something like that, and
Yeah.
maybe had to send, in those days, perhaps a couple of shillings or something like that.
Right.
For the postage
To
back.
the postage
That's
bag. I mean,
right.
or they may have been totally free.
It seems such a difficult way to get one, doesn't it? Whereas
really
today,
does.
I'm going on Amazon
just
to
gonna
find
walk.
me a flower
Oh,
man. You know
Life
what I
was
mean?
very different in
I
those days.
know. But they had salt and pepper as well.
Yes.
Didn't they, the little
Yeah,
ones
we have
as
the
well?
the
salt and
baby
pepper ones.
yes. And then these little guys came in, about 4 or 5 different sizes, I think.
They should bring them back.
I
It would
know,
be
they're
fun.
cute.
Okay.
They're bringing everything else back. Carry on films, spitting
I know.
image. It's all
That's
coming
it.
back. But yeah,
Yeah.
it just takes you right back to your childhood, doesn't it?
It totally
And you
does.
having a good trip over here?
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful, yes.
It's been
I think I
lovely.
might apply for a green card or something. Oh, look at my son's face. He's not happy.
That was all wrong. That was the wrong reaction there.
It's really great you're visiting. See you again soon. Yeah, no. Stay
with us.
Stay.
Stay with us.
But I think we've probably kind of reached the.
We've covered a lot today. We've
We
covered the
have.
Flower Man and your mum and all the shows coming back and Steve Sims and Amanda. And, great stories, by the way, because they're so
Thank you.
different. You know, and all our weird little bizarre British things we like to
Oh, I
talk
know.
about. You know, like the Roundabout Appreciation Society.
Exactly.
It's been a real mixed bag today, hasn't it?
I think that's about it for today then.
It is. And
is, for
thanks
sure.
for, where am I looking? And thanks for spilling the tea with us. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Take care. See ya. That was fun. I like that. You enjoy that?